Bring the drums. You already know. Double Snow. 96, yeah. If y'all niggas on me bread, what you mean you short? You got your man gun, then why you scream it's yours? We in the club doing big.
Yo, you are now tuned in to the Pass My Wine podcast. I'm your host, Remo.
And I'm Bricks Jones. Today we have two special guests. Please introduce yourselves.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Lydia's Love Language. And shout out to Bricks Jones and Remo. What's going on? And shout out to Shelly Fonte.
Shout out
Co-host.
to Shelly Fonte.
And I'm the host of the Turn Me Up Wednesdays podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people call me Chris, some people call me Cherry, however you met me. My name come with a horn, so yeah. So shout out to my co-host Rico 610. That's my co-host of the Turn Me Up Wednesdays. Turn Me Up Wednesdays every Wednesday 8:00 on Instagram Live. My @ name is CROSSED_OVER crossed over.
Yes, sir. And let's get it popping. Both of these people have been on the show before. We're happy to have them both here together. It's going to be a great vibe in here today. Great show coming to y'all, I promise.
Let's do it.
Now let's get into it, right? So
let's talk about it.
Our first topic, when is the best time to have a conversation about the birds and the bees with children?
Well, we all have children, so I think it's only right that Chris starts.
Ooh.
Because I would like to hear a different perspective
Okay.
first.
Okay.
Oh, so somebody
I
who
like
doesn't
how
have
she
a
put
kid.
that light on it. Shine a light on them.
And then it's cool because it's different levels of parents because you got the Tyler, you got the
I got the teenager.
teenager.
He got the
I
on
got
the
the
way.
older teenager.
And he
You
got the
on the way?
No, I'm
On the
playing.
way?
No.
He got
There's nothing on the way.
And
So-
my son is just entering teenage years.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
All right. I'm there.
So
My boy Manny Fresh. Shout out to Manny Fresh,
Shout out
y'all.
to my
Just
son.
gave him a nickname, Manny Fresh.
yes, my God.
So I guess for somebody with no kids, I think that the birds and the bees conversation, I think is obviously from a maturity standpoint in which you see your kids.
Okay.
I think definitely at least when they're first touching high school, for me personally, I think maybe that 14, 15 age range. I think that's when kids should start being sexually active anyway.
They should? Okay.
I think that's when they should. I think that's when they should be starting to practice
Safe
safe
sex.
sex,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that's when it should start to be taught because you're not always going to be around, and
Facts.
kids is going to be sneaky, and so why not just be preventative about it early
Yeah.
and jump on it fast? I mean, there are kids who do things earlier than 14, 15,
Right.
but I think that if you really want to have a good conversation and for kids that can actually understand, then I think 14, 15 is like a good range.
Okay.
And I think that it should also be taught by the parent of the same sex. So the son should be taught by the father and the daughter should be taught by the mother.
I'm sorry, somebody just burped.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
I don't know.
He's speaking from the
Yeah,
perspective of not being a parent. I mean,
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, and that is obviously, and it's no offense, Chris, but that is obviously from a person who doesn't have a kid, and that's how society thinks. I think, like when you don't have kids, because I probably thought the same thing before I had kids. You know
Outside
what I mean?
looking in.
I definitely
Outside,
did.
yeah, I know I did. Like, no, I don't want to like pressure them. I don't want to put it in their head because then they're
Yeah.
going to think about it. But, and then also, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you're looking at it from a perspective of like when we were younger,
Right.
because we weren't exposed to as much.
We
like
didn't
they
have Instagram.
We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have
Yeah.
Snapchat.
YouTube just started popping.
Right?
Yeah.
TikTok, all that. And you'd be surprised about the stuff that's on TikTok with these
Yeah.
kids. And that's the number one platform that they use. It
Right.
used to be Snapchat, but like TikTok is everything for them.
Right.
But me personally, I didn't like plan a time to have that conversation with my son. I just asked him a question one day and he was like 8.
Right.
And I asked him, was one of his friends gay? And that's how the conversation started. No, for real. I asked him, was one of his friends,
Was the friends doing something for you to ask? Like, yeah, what's up with boy? Like,
it was actually a young lady. And And I was like, is she gay? And he was like, well, she says she is. And then
Wow.
he just
At
went,
8?
huh?
Yeah.
You said 8?
That's crazy.
At 8.
That she said
Right.
she was.
And then from there, we started a conversation about like everybody in his class. He was like, well, this one said this, and this one said that, and this one said this, and this one is bisexual. And I was like, how do you know?
The fuck?
Exactly. And I was like, how do you know? And so I had to explain to him, and this is very controversial. I had to explain to him, like, you really don't know if you gay until you have sex. But like people,
Wow.
people,
I never heard nobody say that.
but like, because how do you know?
Yeah.
Like, cause
Right, you know
right.
what you like
Yeah,
until
'cause
you
you
try.
gotta know
Right.
what you like and what you
Okay.
don't
right.
like.
But
Wow.
I think a lot of times now, like people like merge together gender and sexuality,
Mm.
right? Because they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But your sexual preference is, I guess, based on your sexuality, and your sexuality a lot of times is based on your gender.
Mm.
So, you know, like nowadays we have people, I don't know anyone personally, but I've seen people who allow their kids to like pick their gender, and they're going through this transformation and things like that. And, you know, to each his own. But that's why this topic is so controversial, because
Yeah.
it's not just about when do you tell your child about the birds and the bees. You might be telling your child about the bees and the bees. But
Yeah.
telling
That's
your
deep.
child about
The
the birds
birds
and
and
the
the
birds.
birds.
You know what I mean? Like, and so that's
Oh
how
my
the
God.
conversation started with me and my son. And he
Damn.
was 8 years old. And I was just like, and that's my perspective. Some people believe you're born gay or whatever the case may be. But me personally, how do you know? Like, I used to always tell people, like, yeah, you gay, so you got to eat some coochie. You know, how many people want to eat some coochie? Because that's what, you know, like, but
Eating
that's-
coochie ain't for everybody.
right. Like, it's a lot.
Even
Niggas
straight
don't,
men, it
right.
ain't for everybody.
Niggas don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
that's why I explained to him. And so that led to the conversation of the birds and the bees.
Mm.
And he was 8. My son he just turned 14 like 2 weeks ago.
Well, I know for me, my son, he'll be 18 this year. So, I mean, like, me, like, teaching him the birds and the bees was a little bit different. Like, in my mind, like, I thought, like Chris, I was like, yo, I'm probably going to have that talk, like, at 14 and 15,
Right.
be able to
Yeah.
explain to him. But I feel as though, like, as a father, I led by examples. Like, he didn't see me, like, deal with, like, multiple women. But he was also able to identify, like, okay, you know, my dad, he got with my mom, and, you know, they had me. Like, he always got that. And he used to always, you know, look at, like, transsexuals, you know, trannies, and be like, oh, dad, why? That's a boy, girl. Like, he always, like, identified like that. Like, I always knew that he, you know, he noticed, like, certain stuff. And it's like, you know, we'd be in the car, you know, he'll be like, yo, dad, that's my girl. Or, you know, that's my girl. Like,
Yeah.
we play that game. So it's like, I knew he identified that he liked women. So, you know, with me, I was like, okay, I'm cool with that. Now, how the sex talk came, like, we was just in the car one day.
Car
was-
time. Car
he
time.
was 14.
Car time.
At car time, intimate.
Yo, but it
Yeah.
fucked me up because, like you said, you always thought that you was gonna, like, start that conversation. I didn't start that conversation with my son.
He
Damn.
It fucked
initiated
me
it.
up. Like, I'm in the car with him.
That's
He-
kinda
he
scary.
13, 14. He like, yo, dad, I gotta tell you something.
And I think that's probably
I'm like,
more common
yo,
nowadays,
what's up?
right?
He like,
But
yeah,
for the
he
kids
like,
to initiate the conversation,
Mhm.
yeah, he like, yo, dad, I'm having sex. First thing I said,
at 13 and 14?
yeah, like first
And I-
thing I
and I
said,
said it
I
could
was
happen
like,
earlier.
you know, I was like, you know, you wearing protection? He like, yeah. So, you know, in my mind, I always thought, you know, because we talked about this before, you know, when your son start having sex, you think you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that I was going to be happy. Like, yo, my son, he out there running down on
That's
chicks.
scary, though.
Now,
yeah.
but I got scared because,
Mhm.
like, now I'm thinking about the generation that we in. Because,
Mhm.
like you said, like, we're in a different generation. Like, women are, like, more, what's the word that I'm looking for? Promiscuous
Mhm.
than men in
Yeah,
this
sure.
generation.
Yeah,
For sure.
and they're
So,
making
like,
it more okay.
Yeah,
to
like
be
I always
promiscuous.
told his mom, like she used to always like keep an eye on him, and I used to be like, yo, it's not him. I'm like, you really got to
Yeah,
go through his
no.
text messages.
No,
Like it's
it's-
these girls. So
Child,
it's like the
preaching.
girls are more faster than the boys. So if you sitting here trying to have this conversation with your son, it's like, yo, you got to have these conversations with these girls because the girls are
Facts.
moving a lot faster than the boys.
I think it kind of always been like that, but I think that now is easier for them to be open about it.
You
Because
know what?
it's more in the music now than what it
Yeah,
is back
but-
to what it was
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah, like I remember like dick sucks used to be only for whores. Like
It's-
when I was like a
yeah.
young boy, like at 13, and the
Right.
girl used to be like, yo, I'm sucking dick. I'm like, oh, she a whore.
Yeah.
yeah, she's the whore of the school.
By
right?
the time I turned 18, like dick sucks became like
Yeah.
regular. I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
sucked the dick last night. I'm like,
Oh my God.
what?
you might remember that
Help us,
time that,
Lord.
that girl got caught in the schoolyard sucking dick when we was young boys,
Yeah.
we was like in middle school and shit. Like shit was
Yeah.
wild. Like,
And then
but-
the sheep forever has
Yeah.
that connotation as she's the whore. Of the,
yeah, right. Yeah. For the rest of her
But,
life.
but now it's like it's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Like a chick could get a badge of honor. Like, oh, that dick's so crazy.
But see, it's okay to be bragged about now. I feel like women used to keep it a secret, and men would brag about it amongst themselves.
Mhm.
Right.
Now women
Women
brag
bragging
about
about
it,
it. You right
and
about
men
it.
kind of like, damn, bitch. Like,
yeah, but it's
what
but
is you
it's, but
doing?
it's scary for the boys because like I tell my son all the time, I'm like, yo, you gotta look at the situation. Like, perfect example, like he got this situation, like this girl will come see him. She'll drive to my crib and he'll be like, yo, dad, can I go sit out in the car? You know what I'm saying? Talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to me because I'm like, when I was your age, I'm like, we would invite the girl to the
Right.
house
In the crib?
and we would
Yeah.
sit downstairs and hope, like my mom and dad
Don't
wouldn't
come
come downstairs so I
downstairs.
can get this little quickie
The,
in.
the hand
But-
gonna go under the blanket.
Exactly,
Like,
but it's
you know,
just like
she got
yo,
the skirt
like,
on today.
Like it's like, yo, y'all really gonna sit in a car, and I'm just like, I know what y'all doing in the car, and it's like it make me question.
That's
It's
a
like,
good
it's
ass- that's a
making me
good
look
ass
at
plan.
him. It's
And
like,
you know they got a fishbowl.
That's
but
a
that's
good
what I'm
ass
saying.
plan.
It's like I'm
Yeah.
looking at my son. I'm like, yo, you gotta question her moves. I'm like, why is it cool for her to come over here and have sex with you in
your
her car? Like
Yeah.
that says a lot about her. Like she
Yeah,
don't
they
care
do.
like the be in nobody house
Right.
or meet the parent. I'm like, yo, she gonna trap you. I'm like, bro, I bet you can't do that with her.
Yo,
Right.
but look,
I'm like, you can't go to her crib and sit
Mhm.
out in front of her door like her mom and
Yeah.
dad not having it.
Right.
So I be telling them that. I'm like, yo, if she won't allow you to do that shit at her house, you can't let her do that at your house.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm like, yo,
Facts.
she's gonna trap you.
Facts.
I'm like, cause bro, we had this conversation all the time. Like, bros that had sex with a guy and first thing she's come in me. And it's like,
No,
I
that's
know-
real.
And it's like
Real
I know my
rap.
son. I know my son gonna get hit with this joint one day. Like, chick gonna be like, come in me, and he's gonna do it.
Bro, because sometimes the shit, first of all,
I would too.
to all the
At that
women
age?
viewers,
Yeah.
to all the female viewers, before you say, well, he
That's
should have had a
weird to me.
con, he should have just not it. You don't know how good pussy feel. Okay?
God.
And listen,
My whole
the
thing is,
greatest
why are
thing
you even
since
saying
pants and
that?
pockets. This is amazing. Like the feeling of pussy will change your life. You have one, but you don't understand what it feel like. So don't be out here judging us when we go in there raw. It's your fault why we don't got a condom on.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck is wrong with you? I apologize.
But now that's the thing. Now the conversation came up. It was like, yo, if my son got somebody pregnant at a young age, what would I do as a parent?
So
everybody got mad at
what
me.
would you do?
Because
would you do?
I said, I'm like, look, if my son not ready to and be a parent, and she's iffy about the situation, I'm like, yo, I'm forking at
Oh
abortion.
yeah,
money, yo.
I'm dropping that 350 off. Yeah.
I'm like, look, if this what you want to
Apple Tree
do,
Street.
and if this what you want to do,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apple
let's
Tree
take it.
Street.
I got this
777.
I'm mad he
Because-
know where it's at.
no,
though.
cause I say this all the time. I'm like, yo, being a young parent, yo, this shit is hard.
Yeah,
Like, don't know young boy.
yeah.
Don't know young boy want to be a young parent. It's hard, especially like when you like 18.
Not
under
when you
21.
got good parents. When you have good
Mhm.
parents and they raising you right, you ain't trying to be no parent young. But like,
Mm.
if you come from an environment where parenthood at a young age is prevalent, then that's
Definitely,
something
right.
that you look forward to. Like,
Right.
you happy when you get somebody pregnant at 17. Like, oh, we're
Well-
gonna get
Well,
married.
I don't know, Lydia. Like, I feel some type of way. You know what I mean? Grandma's being 38. Like,
and what? Listen,
I got a problem
Listen,
with that. Like,
listen.
why your grandma
Grandma.
38? Like,
listen,
your grandma should not be younger than me.
listen.
That's
I'm
all
with
I'm
you.
saying.
I'm with you. I'm offended by that
38-year-old
too.
grandma is vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
I was
with
looking
you.
at this video with the 5 generations of parents. Like, one girl, she like 15. Then a mom come in,
Oh my
she look
God.
like she about like 29. Look, grandmom look like she like
45.
39.
Listen,
Look, great grandmom look like she like
50.
54.
That's-
Look, great grandmom, she like 65. I'm
That's
like, why your
crazy.
great grandmom 65?
that's
like,
crazy.
Why she
my
still-
dad is
why she still
65 and he a
alive?
grandpa.
That's a family of
The great grandma still alive is OD.
great grandmom 65. Nobody's
It's-
great grandmom should be 65. That's all.
Great grandma's supposed to be in their 80s and up.
In
Yeah.
90s,
80s and up.
90s,
Like,
you feel me?
yeah,
Great grandma?
95, yeah. Great
Bro,
grandma. That's
listen, my-
95.
great-
My
great-
great-
Listen,
You're
my
not
great
supposed to know
grandma
your great
91, yo.
You're not supposed to know your great.
I knew my great. I ain't know my great
I'm trying
grandma.
to. Yeah,
the-
I don't know my
the
great
great
but
great was there for the birth of Martin Luther King and shit.
Yeah.
You gotta think about that. Like,
my
that's
son
really old.
knows his great grandfather,
Okay.
but not his great great.
How old is his great granddad?
His great granddad is like 80 something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like, that's his
that's
great.
how that
So like I
shit's
see what Chris is
professional.
saying. Like
Yeah,
your
like-
great.
He's a professional great granddad. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
he
Like,
got
yeah, he's
great
doing what he's
grandkids,
supposed to
too.
be. Yeah.
But
But-
see, and that's another thing why reason why I would do that. But I don't want to be a fucking young grandparent. Like
Well,
I
who
can't be
does?
walking around
Like-
as a 40. I can't be walking around as a 40+ grandparent.
Like
Yeah,
I
that
still
shit don't
want
make
more
sense.
kids.
Shit.
Like
Huh?
Calling you pop and shit.
Calling
Pop-
Pop.
That's what I'm saying. Like how I'm gonna pop at
Pop
45.
Remo.
No,
Pop the real Remo.
That's-
Instagram.
that's what I'm saying.
But, like-
You gotta delete all your socials.
My pop
you can't be
got
a-
an Instagram.
You can't be a
yo.
grandparent
That's
with
what I'm
socials.
saying.
You
Like
gotta
how-
change 'em
how
all.
I'ma
Grandparents
turn
not
up
supposed
as
to
a
have socials.
the
grandparent?
real pop up.
Man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and you got grandmoms out here 39 talking about I'm turning up.
Don't Bernice
No.
ain't Bernice Burgos a
See,
grandparent?
and that's,
Yo,
and that's
we
what
was
I'm
talking
talking
about that
We
on the
was
way
just
here,
talking
bro.
about that.
Bernice
and we
Burgos.
was also saying, when we
Taking
got
pictures
young
with her
parents
daughter
that
half
got,
naked.
Kids.
She
that
the only
had kids at a
grandparent
young
that can have
age, they try
socials.
to be their friend, as opposed to being their parent.
That's
Like
the only
Bernice
one.
Burgos,
Yeah,
she out
only
here
one.
taking half naked pictures with her daughter.
Yeah, that's out of pocket.
Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
got
like-
a problem with that.
How your granddaughter looking at that? Like,
And that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Right.
Like,
I
you
know
a
her
grandma.
granddaughter. I know her
Bernice
granddaughter.
Burgos is a
I know her
grandma.
granddaughter probably 2 years old already on TikTok.
Hey,
These-
yo, right.
These little ass kids already
Wait,
be
do-
having iPads
Doing
and
a little
everything.
dance. What that
Right.
called? Shake some,
Shake
whatever
some.
that called.
That John.
Yeah.
The only thing scarier for me than my son having a kid younger is like these girls trying to trap him in a different way. Cause like after
Oh,
the
hell
Me
yeah.
Too movement, it's just like, and I can tell you a million stories with my son, with my godsons. I can tell you a million stories about how these kids, like these young ladies, just flip it on them. And
Wait, so let me ask you this before we keep bashing young ladies. Do you think that young men can trap women too?
Hell yeah.
Definitely.
I
Do you
don't-
think it
I-
happens?
No, there's niggas out here that do that.
No,
Be like, oh yeah,
men
I ain't going
definitely
nowhere. I'm-
trap women.
Trap.
But men, young boys do it in a way of, oh, y'all get comfortable with the girl for her to let you take the condom off. And of course, the women who don't want kids, they're gonna say, please don't nut in me or whatever. Pull out. Of course. The dude don't pull out. That's trapping somebody.
Yeah.
Because now
That's
you
not,
putting it
though.
on her. You putting it on her to get the abortion after she said, don't nut inside me. Don't get me wrong. Y'all shouldn't have been, having the unprotected sex. But like I said, sex is good.
sex,
Okay.
okay.
I can
And
think of-
if she trusts you enough to tell you, okay, take the condom off, just pull out, but you nut in her on purpose because you don't want her to leave, because you want to keep her around and still do you, that's trapping somebody.
I don't agree.
I can
And
think
from-
of
from
one
a-
That-
person.
that's trapping somebody
Uh,
coming
that-
from a man's point of view.
But you know what? And we had this topic on Lydia's love language.
Let's talk about it. I'm
let's
happy
talk about
you
that.
back.
Talk about it.
Hey,
We
Let's
making
talk about
a
it.
return.
I'm happy you back.
I'm gonna
Checking
try to
in,
come
Lydia's
back.
love language.
Lydia's love language every Monday night. If I get my co-host to act right, but
I'll be your
anyway,
co-host. What's
okay,
up?
all right.
Like, I'll get her back too.
I'll rotate between the three of
That's
you guys.
cool. We here.
But no, like we talked about this, and it's like when we talked about this on my show, I was on your side, like, no, like you can trap a man, you can trap a woman.
Mm.
But when I started to hear other perspectives, I was just like, you know what, you kind of right. Like, I hear what you saying. She said, don't come at me, pull out. That's irresponsible. Like, you can't trust
She's a
that
child though.
it doesn't matter. You a child while you having sex. Like,
Mhm.
no, seriously. Like,
How old was you the first time you had sex?
listen, my mom might watch this, so I'm not gonna
No,
say.
I think I cursed too much for your mom to watch this show.
No, my mom actually watches you.
Oh,
She
oh.
watches you.
I
Okay,
mean,
like,
oh shoot, not
Oh,
shit.
shucks.
Oh shoot.
y'all
Oh,
know my
shucks.
mom a pastor now. My mom loves your show. She's like, oh my
Oh,
God,
really?
Jordan is so funny. Yeah.
Pastor Kim Paul says, "Thank you, baby."
Auntie Kim, yes, Pastor Kim's Corner. That's my mom. That's his aunt. But no, like seriously, because that's irresponsible. Like you shouldn't be having sex young, and if you do, you don't know what you're doing. You got to deal with the consequences, and that consequence might be that you have to go down the Apple Tree Street, like
777.
that. This nigga.
777.
777.
That might, but I mean, to say
I
to
ain't
somebody,
gonna talk about how many times I've been down there. But
please don't.
Lucky
been down
number.
there a couple of times.
But if you find yourself in that situation, like you can't depend on somebody else. Like you can't depend on somebody else to make a decision for the rest of your life. Like you gotta be, like you gotta. If you go into a situation where you having sex unprotected, you have to deal with the consequences of that. You have to deal with
That's
whatever
why you
comes
gotta
out of
be
that.
parent to come through with that.
That 350.
Got
Yo.
that
Listen.
350, son.
For the younger viewers,
350, the new 40.
Yeah.
real quick, for the younger viewers, if you go down to Apple Tree Street, 777 Philadelphia, PA. If you go down to Apple Tree Street, you could tell them you don't have no job, and they'll take the price down to like 160.
Swear.
Don't ask me how I know. Just know I'm telling the truth. All right. Now
No.
go ahead.
Well, this is my last point with this, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the reason why women feel like they get trapped in this situation is because they're too embarrassed to speak about it, especially when it's a young girl.
Yeah.
Like if it's
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
in her teenage years, she's too embarrassed to say, "Hey, I let this nigga come in me, and now I'm pregnant. And so what do I do?" And the result could go either way. The family can embrace it. You know, I've been teaching for like 12 years, and I've had kids that had kids at 12, and they were raised like siblings because the parents took care of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it can go that way, or it can be like, no, you going to 777. Like that. It just. But I think that women feel trapped because they're too embarrassed to say
They
what
don't
they
wanna
got.
be judged.
They don't want to be judged.
So I feel like it's like
why,
this.
So why
Go
is
ahead.
it that it's cool for the women not to get judged, but men get judged in this situation
Often.
the
So we
time?
can. I'm gonna go right back to it, but I want to say this real quick about your statement that it's not being trapped. I feel as though you got 3 versions of love when you growing up to an adult. You got pre-love, you got young love, and you got realistic love.
Mm-hmm.
We all dealing with realistic love. You know what I'm saying? We older, 30 up, whatever. You got that pre-love though. When you first start having sex with that person you really like, that's pre-love. You think you in love, y'all fucking with each other, take the condom off. I'm gonna have sex with her unprotected and think I'm taking her serious.
Mm-hmm.
But that pre-love different. It's fucking with you a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like now the girl, I trust him. I love him. He's not going to nut inside me anyway because he has that trust. I don't gotta tell nobody else I'm having
We
unprotected
can't call that
sex.
pre-love. We gotta call that lust.
Right.
That's lust.
But that's
what
why
that
I
is.
called it
It's lust.
pre-love because it's not real.
It's lust.
It's lust. I not agree
Yeah.
with you, but you think, especially
think
a
it's
young
love.
woman. A young woman think that's love. He took my virginity. You know what I'm saying?
So
he
it's
might
like
have met a
pre-K.
parent.
It ain't
Pre-K.
kindergarten.
Yeah,
It
it's
ain't
pre-K.
real.
Well,
It's not a real class.
Well,
Think
you know,
practicing.
and that's what I was trying to tell my son. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, like her different love is probably different from yours. Like in
Exactly.
her
Mhm.
mind, like you inviting her to the crib, she feel like she's special. In your
She
mind,
think
you
nobody
just like
else been to the crib but her.
exactly. In his mind, he like, yo, I'm just inviting you over here to get a nut.
So this ain't even the first car ride for your son. He done been
Exactly.
in many of your cars.
Exactly.
Like,
So it's like
Good.
you know he
Hondas
just
and Camrys. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
So
Fuck
it's
you
like
talking
you know
about?
he just think it's for the moment. But I'm just like yo, she's going in there with a whole different
Right.
mindset. To her, she like yo, you're the one.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And in your mind,
And
you
y'all
like
only
I'm not
15
the one.
Y'all only 15 and you saying you the one. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
mentally, she think
Yo,
this is okay,
I'm
and it's
telling you,
not.
bro. I'm telling you, I looked at my son text messages from these girls. They be saying shit like, "Yo, you gonna have my baby? Yo,
Right.
And that's
when
why
we
they
gonna
keep it
be
when they get
together? Yo, do you love me?" And yo, and my son, he be in the text messages like, "I guess."
Yo,
But
that's
I'm like,
crazy.
your guess
Yeah,
is
bro,
a
you gotta
yes
tell
to
the
her.
truth.
Like,
Yes.
But as a young boy, I get why he said I guess. I want to keep getting pussy.
Exactly.
But
And I'm
that's-
just like,
but
yo,
that's
and I
why-
be telling him, I'm like, yo, you gotta stop saying what these chicks want to hear.
That's
because
why I was
I'm like,
gonna
you gonna get
say-
yourself jammed up.
Facts.
That's why I was gonna say that he got the best situation. Because look, they be pulling up in the car and I can just go out to the we ain't gotta do no talking.
Right.
We ain't gotta watch half a Netflix movie. All we gotta do is listen to 1 or 2
Damn,
songs.
it's not even Netflix
Talk-
and chill.
Hey, what you do today?
Park and chill.
All right, cool. Let me while you talk about what you did today, I'm already unzipping the pans. Come on, let's get it.
That's
We just get
crazy.
into
This
it.
is just
That's
a new
crazy,
generation.
though.
Like
Yeah,
that
this
is
is a
the norm.
I wish,
like
I,
that's
wish
cool.
I could just walk out to a girl car. Let's just chill in the car. You mean
Yo.
park up somewhere.
Bro, I thought it was thorough that he had girls pulling up.
I was
I
about
was
to say,
like,
that
damn,
is
fucking
thorough.
chicks that
I
drive.
ain't have
I
no
was
chick
like,
that
I
had a
was,
car.
look,
I
I
ain't
was
either.
a Scepter
Yo,
warrior.
they was coming at me because they was dating a nigga that was 26
wish-
while we
I'm
was
saying.
16.
You know how much money I would have went through on if Uber and Lyft was back then?
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Do you know how
bro.
many girls would have came to the crib when I said free crib?
Mm-mm-mm.
But I had girls talking about, I can't come this time. I'm 2 buses away. Yeah, 2 buses
Oh,
away. My grandma gonna
But
be
see, this
home.
the thing, Chris, like these girls be coming over like 10:30 at night. And I'm just sitting here as a parent. I'm like, why the fuck you coming to my house at 10:30 at night? Like,
Yeah.
So let
I
me-
need to talk to your parents.
So let me ask you from a dad. How old is your son?
He's 17.
So from a dad standpoint, with how lenient are you to with your son being out at 10:30 with a girl versus how you would be? I don't know if you have a daughter, but
Yeah, I
would you-
do. Yeah.
how lenient would you be with your daughter at 17 being out that late with your daughter?
Well, I'm very lenient with my son.
Is it because you're a guy?
Well, I think it's that too. It's because I'm a guy, and it's because I'm in his ear.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know,
He in his
as
zone,
opposed
heavy.
with me, like growing up, I didn't have like that adult or fatherly figure in my ear. So
So
I
you
made a
kind
lot
of
of
do you
mistakes.
kind of agreed when I first made the point. I think that the father should
Yeah,
teach
I'm-
the son. And
Well,
the
I
mother
mean,
teach
I
the
don't
daughter.
like now. I think a woman can raise a man
I don't think so.
because I mean, I've come from I come from a single mother home,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, me too.
basically a
Single
single
grandma
like a
home.
single mother basically made me a man.
Mhm.
So to say that a woman can't, raise a man, I
Right.
think that's like a stretch.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think she can give you the idea of being a man, but
Mhm.
give you the right basis to be a man. I don't think she can.
I think
Like I feel as though like a woman could tell you how to love a woman, but she
Yeah,
can't tell you
yeah,
how to be
yeah,
a man. Now
yeah.
the man can tell you how to be a man, but I don't really think a man can tell you how to love a woman because
Only a woman can tell you that.
like I can't tell my son how to love a woman.
Right.
Mm.
Like I can't. Like I'm just like, look, I got trouble with it. Like I don't
Mhm.
even know how to love a woman. It's a learning process for me. Like I was just telling you, Lydia, in the beginning, I break up with my girl like probably like every 4 days, and then it's
Ooh.
like I'll come back like, you know what? I was tripping.
Yeah. We gonna
So-
get into these breakups in a
So I
second.
think that
But
A-
with
a
my
woman-
daughter, I
Don't lose your
like
Yeah.
as a father with my daughter, I'm very protective with my daughter because I know how niggas think.
Mhm.
I know how young niggas
Yeah.
think.
Mm-hmm.
So, like my daughter, she's 10. I know how a 10-year-old boy think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like I'm watching that little boy because I
Right.
know how little boys think. So it's like I'm overprotective with my daughter, but her mom is not protective. She think
Yeah.
that shit cute. Like a little boy like her, she be like, oh, that's cute. She got a little crush. I'm like, no, she don't need no fucking crush.
Oh my gosh, I had something to say about this, but go ahead, Chris,
Go ahead.
because
But
So-
I mean, that's
I
how
got something
I
to say.
feel.
But go ahead.
Go ahead.
So,
I'm gonna end this
on
out
a-
after you go.
Yeah. So on the lines of this is what I wanted to talk about. On the lines of raising a man, I don't think that a woman could raise a man. I think that a woman can raise a good human. So I think she can raise you to be a good
Like a good citizen.
a good citizen,
Good
a
person,
great
yeah.
citizen. They can
Mhm.
definitely do that. But this is the thing. I don't think a father can raise a daughter or raise a great woman. I think that they can raise you into being great citizens because I can never sympathize with a daughter.
I
can- when you- when you-
I think a father can give a daughter great direction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like-
And the same thing with a
vice
man,
versa.
with
Right,
with a woman and her
with a
son.
mother, yeah.
But when I'm going through in high school, when I'm going through my, puberty and, whatever's going on in school, my mom or grandmom could never sympathize with that.
Right.
And the same thing, I would never be able to sympathize with a daughter, whatever I have. I would never be able to sympathize whenever she's going through her first menstrual cycles and things like that.
Right.
Yeah,
I can't.
And the
I
only-
can't do that.
Yeah.
And the only
Yeah.
way you would be able to relate is if you had like sisters or siblings or something like that. But
And
even in
then,
that,
I would have to. I would
still-
kind of have
still
to.
can't figure
I
it
would
out, 'cause
kinda
my
have to
sister, she got a
direct you
whole-
to your
my daughter got a
aunts.
whole menstrual, and I
Right.
just don't.
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
to my mom. Let me direct you to my mom. Let me
Yeah.
direct you to my grandma or something like that.
Let me
Because
put
I
a woman
can't-
in this position
I
to talk
cannot
to you
sympathize.
about it.
How could I ever tell
Yeah.
you, hey, it's okay? I don't know it's okay.
Yeah.
I've never
No.
been through that.
that's
Right.
a great point, and I'm a piggyback off that, and then I'm gonna comment on what you said. That's a great point because I have a son, and he has this relationship with his father that is just amazing. Like,
That's what's up.
Mhm.
yeah, they're like
As
best
he should.
friends,
That's what's up.
and
Yeah.
he be taking shots at me and like favoring his dad. I be like, yo, get out of here, go over there to your favorite dad, like just leave me alone. But I think I had called his dad one day, and I was like, yo, your son hates me, and he doesn't hate me, he loves me.
Yeah.
But they have a relationship that I haven't seen because I have all sisters.
Right.
And my dad had a relationship with us that was a daddy-daughter relationship. And so I never seen a son-father relationship that intimately. Like I might have seen it in the peripheral, from a peripheral vantage point, but I can't relate. And so with certain things like I can tell my son, I can teach my
Yeah.
son, but is places where his father is absolutely 100% needed. And I think that creates the bond that they have. And it took me a while to kind of navigate through that. But I
Yeah.
totally agree with Chris is saying. Like we can, I try my best to raise a great citizen, a great human
Yeah.
being, but to
There's certain
really
things you need his
understand,
dad.
like what it is to be a real man,
Yeah.
he needs his father. But at the same time, like you were talking about, like how you're like super protective over your daughter, and all fathers that's
Supposed to
like,
be.
Yeah, I think that's
Supposed
just a
to be.
natural.
that's just
Yeah.
a natural
Yeah,
thing,
that's-
right?
Yeah.
And my father was super protective over us. He probably gave us the same game that you give me your daughter.
Yeah.
But here's what's
But you want not to cut you off, but you know why I probably feel like that? Because I see how women get treated. And it's
Right.
like I don't want that to happen to my daughter.
Right.
No,
And
absolutely.
it's like it is not to point the finger at guys because I'm like, yo, guys is fucked up. Like
Yeah.
They are,
'cause
but
I
so
know-
are
'cause I
women.
know at one point, like
Yeah.
I was a fucked up dude. Like some of the shit I used to do back in the day, I'm like, yo, I would never let my daughter date a nigga like that.
Yeah, but women are messed up too. And I be looking at and I only say that because I have a son. And I be like, yo, these
Yeah.
little nasty
Yeah.
little girls. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But like our father was super protective of us, and it was things that was like, no, you can't do that. Don't talk to him. Like, no, I know what the type
Yeah.
of dude that is.
Mhm.
And my dad, like he watching him, he taught me how to be. He demonstrated to me what a good husband should be, like, and what a good father should be.
Mhm.
But he
Yeah.
never taught me what it was like to date a man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a
Right.
huge, and my dad was an amazing father.
Right.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. So like when you like super protective over your daughter and you're, doing all the things you need to do as a father to provide for her, that's great.
But can't tell you how to date. her,
But you
though.
can't
Yeah.
because she ain't dating you.
Yeah,
Right.
And especially when you say that you can't even tell your son how to love a woman. So how can you
Yeah.
tell your daughter how to be loved by a man
See.
other than to show her fatherly love?
Right.
And it wasn't until I ran into one of my good friends. I won't say his name, but shout out to Wayne. I was to say that. Shout out to Wayne. And he really taught me, like we didn't date or anything, but he just really taught me what it looked like for a man to date you.
Yeah.
Like he just took me like, no, a guy should be taking you here. A guy should be taking you there. And yeah, your father going to tell you that. Like, no, a guy should be opening your door. He should be doing this. He should be telling you this. He should be telling you that. It doesn't matter how much game you give your daughter as a father. It's still going to be it's still her responsibility to go out there and navigate the world
Right.
and date these
And she's
dudes.
gonna like
She
who
gotta
she
learn.
like.
She got to learn, and she going to
gotta
like
learn
what she
what she
like.
like.
You understand
Yeah,
what I'm
no
saying?
matter
So
what.
that's just all I had to say about
That's
Yeah, you might
That's a
want
good
to
job.
like you might shield her from you as
Right.
the guy that you are, but
Yeah.
she might really like that nigga. Like,
Right.
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 See, and
Right.
that's the
Right.
weird shit, cause it's like, you might look at yourself as a father like, man, I don't want my daughter dating a nigga like me, but in her mind, she probably like, yo, that's the nigga I want. I'm
But
like,
she
look.
might be able to get some game from your son. See, I ain't had no brothers.
Right.
Like Jordan and them are my brothers.
See,
You know what I
and
mean?
that's-
Like,
and that's what I be trying to tell my son. I'm like, yo, don't let your sister get caught up. Like,
yeah.
be your daughter protector. Like, I'm not gonna always be here.
And he
Like, I
younger,
always
so he
tell
can
him
teach
that.
her about the shit
Exactly.
that's going on now.
Cause I'm like, you dealing
Yeah.
with niggas in your age bracket.
See-
So niggas in his age bracket gonna
Right.
be chasing girls in her age
Mhm,
bracket.
Right.
Like,
Right.
mhm.
So when
Right.
she get older, like they
Just
gonna
to-
be chasing her.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Just to I mean, get back to the original topic from what y'all was saying. Like my mom, she's the one that talked to me about sex.
Mhm.
She's the one that told me about women. You get what I'm saying? So I always knew how to get the woman I wanted, and I always knew how to treated her to make her happy, X, Y, and Z. But I never had that father figure to tell me the things not to do.
now, see,
Mhm.
now that's what I
Right.
dealt with. Like I was able to. I always had. It was always easy for me to get the girl.
Yeah.
My problem was keeping her.
Mm.
Never knew how to keep her.
Which is why you break up with your girlfriend every 4 days.
Exactly.
Okay,
So-
we get it.
So
My
that's,
thing was
so
I
that's
never,
why,
I never
so
cared
that's
about.
why
I
I
never
had
cared
that
about
issue.
keeping
So
her.
it's like
See-
I don't know how to keep her. So it's a learning process. Like you said, like a father, a woman
Yeah.
could
Right.
teach
exactly.
you how
and
to
see-
treat a woman. Like, okay,
I've-
I know take a woman out.
Right.
I
And
know
I've
get her
been-
nice things.
Right,
I
right,
know talk to her
exactly.
when she need to talk to, but
Right.
Mm.
I don't know how to emotionally like love her. So when
See,
she
now-
say, "Yo, you don't emotionally support me," I'll be like, "Fuck is you talking about?"
The difference is
when you
I,
ask
I
to help,
was,
I'm here
right,
to
so
help
what
you.
up? Look, I was taught how to emotionally treat and love a woman, but I never seen a woman treated the right way.
Exactly.
So once I got into the relationship, I knew all the things to do and to say, but I never seen it be done. So the things I was missing, like, oh, if she not doing X, Y, and Z, you're not supposed to step out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Mhm.
if you do something and you're not recognized for it, you're not supposed to be okay with somebody else recognizing you for it. Cause see, my dad, he never showed that part of loving my mother. I just seen my mother love my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So when I didn't see the love be reciprocated for the things my mom told me to do, I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Henceforth, now it's the sex conversation. My mom telling me, oh, X, Y, and Z when it comes to sex. I feel as though she probably gave me the best advice. Because once my dad finally started talking about sex, I'm like 19. I'm having sex by now. It's too late. You fuck these bitches. But I think you can get the best advice from sex from the opposite sex.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
because I feel as though the woman or a woman, it could be the big sister, the big cousin, the mother. She can tell you how women are when it comes to the sexual realm of things. How they
Yeah.
gonna treat you after sex, before sex, during sex.
Mhm.
She can tell you that. A man can't tell you. A man can tell you what to do, but he can't tell you what she gonna do. So I think
Mhm.
the best advice could come from the opposite sex.
Yeah.
That's a
So
good point. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
I'm with that.